You never see pictures of Jesus smiling, do you? I mentioned this to Geoffrey once. Good point, Susan, is what he said, which made me wish I'd not brought it up in the first place. The doctrine, according to Geoffrey, being that since Jesus was made man, he smiled, laughed, and did everything just like the rest of us. Do you think he ever smirked? I asked. Whereupon Geoffrey suddenly remembered he was burying somebody in 5 minutes and took himself off. If Jesus is all man, I wish they'd put more of it into the illustrations. I was sitting in church yesterday, wrestling with this point of theology, when it suddenly occurred to me that something had happened to Geoffrey. The service should have kicked off ages ago, but he's still in the vestry. Mr. Bland is filling in with something uplifting on the organ. Miss Frobisher, never one to let an opportunity slip, has slumped to her knees for a spot of unscheduled silent prayer. Mrs. Shrubsole is lost in contemplation of the altar, still adorned with forest murmurs. A trail of ivy round the cross, the final inspired touch. Mr. Bland now ups the volume, but still no sign of Geoff. Arnold, says Mrs. Belcher, there seems to be some hiatus in the proceedings. And suddenly the fan club is on red alert. She's just levering him to his feet when I get in first and nip in there to investigate. Well, his reverence is there, white-faced, every cupboard open, and practically in tears. He said, "Have you seen it?" I said, "What?" He said, "The wine, the communion wine, it's gone." I said, "That's no tragedy," and offered to pop out and get some ordinary. Geoffrey says, "They're not open, and besides, what does it look like?" I said, "Well, it looks like we've run out of communion wine." He said, "We haven't run out. There was a full bottle here on Friday. Somebody has drunk it." It was on the tip of my tongue to say that if Jesus is all he's cracked up to be, why doesn't he use tap water and put it to the test? When I suddenly remembered Mr. Bland keeps a bottle of cough mixture in his cupboard in case any of the choir boys gets chesty. At the thought of celebrating the Lord's Supper in Benilyn, Geoffrey now has a complete nervous breakdown. But as I point out, it's red and sweet, and no one's going to notice. Nor do they. I see Mr. Belcher licking his lips a bit thoughtfully as he walks back down the aisle, but that's all. "What was the delay?" asks Mrs. Shrubsole. "Nothing," I say. Just a little hiccup. Having got it right for once, I'm feeling quite pleased with myself. Geoffrey obviously isn't, and never speaks all afternoon. So, I bunk off Evensong and go into Leeds. Mr. Ramesh has evidently been expecting me, because there's a bed made up in the storeroom upstairs. I go up first and get in. When I'm in bed, I can put my hand out and feel the lentils running through my fingers. When he comes up, he's put on his proper clothes, long white shirt, sash and whatnot, loincloth underneath, all spotless, like Jesus, only not. I watch him undress and think about them all at evensong, and Geoffrey praying in that pawsy way he does, giving you time to mean each phrase, and the fan club lapping it up, thinking they love God when they just love Geoffrey. "Lighten our darkness, we beseech thee, O Lord, and in thy great mercy defend us from all perils and dangers of this night." Like Mr. Ramesh, 26 with lovely legs, who goes swimming every morning in the Merrion Street baths and plays hockey for Horsford. I ask him if they offer their sex to God. He isn't very interested in the point, but with them, so far as I can make out anyway, sex is all part of God. I can see why, too. It's the first time I've really understood what all the fuss was about. There, among the lentils, on the second Sunday after Trinity. I just popped into the vestry. He's put a lock on the cupboard door.